It's about generations to come. This is about legacy.
It's all about legacy. "50 years in ministry. My greatest pride? My family."
5 individuals with unique identities, but with this one thing in common.
We're all different, but our faith, our calling, is very much the same.
Our desire to make his name great.
And when God's family comes together in unity to honor and worship his name, Psalm 133 says that in that place, God commands that there will be a blessing.
All right, it is now my big honor and privilege. What a exciting time to sit down with Anthony Evans today and get a chance to pick your brain a little bit today, talk about all the things that are coming up in 2023. And already, you guys, your family rocking and rolling. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So let's start. We have so much to get into. So let's start with Kingdom Legacy Live, this event that I love, that not only are you hosting there in Texas where people can come in person, but then there is a chance for everybody to kind of get a part of the live streaming and be a part of it that way. But take us back a little bit. How did this come to be? This isn't obviously the first time you guys have ministered together, but this one feels a little different.
Yeah, it is a little bit different. Basically, the heart behind it is we all, the 5 of us, me, my dad, my sisters, and my brother, we all 5 individually have ministries going on. And for those listening who are like, wait, who is this and who is this family? My dad's Dr. Tony Evans, my sister's Priscilla Shirer, who's a well-known women's speaker and author, and my other sister, Chrystal's an author. My brother, Jonathan, is also a speaker. So we're kind of all, but my mom, the bottom line of how this event came about is my mom looked at me in the face one day and said, I want y'all to do things together. That's just the bottom line. And it sparked something in me because I produce a lot of the events I do, or what me and Priscilla's tours, I get to produce a lot of those. And I just was like, okay, I'm going to do that. And when we lost our mom, it put in overdrive anything in my life, including these events that she wanted. So for our family to be able to come together and encourage other individuals, other families on what it looks like, whether it's what it looks like to hold on to faith when life is breaking your heart, or what it looks like to be intentional about building family, because that's what really lasts beyond careers or whatever. That was an exciting thing to be able to do. And it's hard to wrangle everybody's schedules, but once we did, I was wildly motivated to make it happen. And that's what we're doing in Houston, Texas, for the first time in this way.
Yeah. So how is it going to work? What can people expect from this? Because from what I understand, there's also going to be, because I would love to be a fly on the wall, I think, in your homes. Maybe not now because you guys are so spread apart. You're all so busy. But are you guys going to pull the curtain back a little bit and kind of explain how the Evans family, works? And
of course. Yeah. A lot of the principles that we learned, well, generally people can expect. There's always going to be worship. There's obviously going to be amazing time in the Word, which my family's kind of known for in a lot of ways. But it's rare that the 5 of us will sit around the table, which is what we did growing up. Like my dad and mom were so intentional about us around the table that we're going to actually sit around a table and have these conversations, and it'll be a discussion. And when you get our family dynamic around a table, it's way different than behind a podium or, standing there and teaching or preaching. It's way different. But our objective is not to have some self-indulgent conference where we're just talking about our family. This is to encourage, obviously, the hearts of the people who are joining us in the room in Houston or via live stream. We want your heart to be encouraged. So yes, there'll be a veil pulled back because our dynamic changes wildly when we're all sitting there and bantering and back and forth, and you get to see our dad now dealing with his kids, not necessarily standing behind a podium and doing his teaching. But yes, they should expect honest conversations, authentic worship moments, strategic prayer I was talking about, and exercising strategic prayer in and out of the room. But yeah, it's a great conference style setup with the
That-
whole family.
That's awesome. Is there a theme, or is there a particular, when you look at 2023, and this may lead into what you and Priscilla are doing as well, as you guys are headed back out on the road together, coming out of COVID, and I feel like so many of these events were shut down for so long.
Oh,
And
yes.
I just feel like there's such a hunger. I feel it happening in our churches here in the Tampa Bay area, where people are coming back. You hear about the revivals going on right now.
Mhm.
There is a hunger, I think, for people to come together and hear God's word.
I'll address the hunger part first. Yes, I really believe that people are hungry for authenticity. They're hungry for connection, but hungry for authentic connection. Like, the pretense is kind of over and done with. I think people don't want pretense at all. And so that's the objective with this event, is to present authentic connection with the audience. And our role is just to do the best that we can I think that's what the Lord asks of us anyway. He doesn't ask for us to add ribbons and bows to what he wants to tell people. He just give them my message, give it to them in excellence, give it to them authentically, and then let me do what I do, which is take one message and divide it up a few thousand different ways to speak individually to people's hearts. So that's our objective, and that's our goal, is to bring excellence, bring all that we can, and then allow God to do what he does. And right now the hearts to me are kind of ready for it, because the circumstances have prepped our hearts to be ready for something real.
Mm-hmm. How are you doing? You had a book that came out in the fall of last year as well, where you have just been very honest and open about what you've had to walk through. And I think some of the pressure that you have coming from, you talk about this legacy family,
Yeah.
you have not shied away from that, especially recently, and making sure that people know it's okay to talk about your struggles. Kind of talk about that if you can, because I just think that's so important.
No problem. The book that I wrote along with my actual real life therapist is called When Faith Meets Therapy. For a while, I had this big hang up inside. I'm like, you're a believer. You don't need therapy. You just need to pray. Like, that was kind of what I put that on myself. And then I remembered, algebra class in the 9th grade, where I had a book of truths and then somebody teaching me these book of truths, but I was so confused. I didn't have any idea. I mean, there was formulas in a book and being written out and worked out on a board. And she would say X equals 13. And I'd be like, I'm lost. I don't know how you got that. But I had to admit that I needed tutoring in order to pass. Like, that's when I admitted that there's no shame in needing tutoring, and I need tutoring to pass. And I actually went. That is how I did not fail, is by admitting that I needed help. And so for me as a believer, I do have a book of truths. I have Tony Evans, one of the best teachers in the world, working the formulas out. And I still sometimes don't get it. So I needed practical ways to, for instance, be anxious for nothing. I needed practical ways to do that. And so this book was written with practical tools for people like me who need tutoring, and also kind of to dispel the myth that if you're a believer and you want therapy, that there's something off with your faith.
Have you heard response back that it's helped people? I can only imagine that those responses are starting to pour in.
I have, and it's been really encouraging. Some people are like, "Oh, I didn't need this." I don't. And there are some people who are just math whizzes and don't need tutoring. But what I've heard a lot is people like, "Oh my gosh, I am so glad that somebody would admit, one, that they need it, and then give me certain things to start walking out God's truth in my life." Practical tools to work out, guys. So I have, and that's been encouraging, because I would have loved to have a book or a resource like that when I was 18 and my brain felt crazy.
All right, let's talk about some music now. I can't wait to hear what you are working on. I had a chance to tell you before we got started. You got on stage here in the Tampa Bay area with Maverick City Music. I love that as well. But man, what a blessing your vocals are. So tell us what you got, what you're working on, what people can expect.
Thank you so much. I'm currently working on a new project. It's untitled right now, but I have a new single coming out March 24th. It's called We Need a Miracle. And it's actually, I found this song. I've been writing most of the project, but this one, there are songs that encourage my heart, but sonically I hear them in a different way. So I will take them along with my team, and we'll kind of flip them on their heads and represent them to an audience that may not have heard them because of how they're packaged currently. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we just kind of switch them up. But the first single is called We Need a Miracle. And it's coming out March 24th. But this is, again, about being able to do what God's gifted me to do and do it with excellence, and then let him take it and speak to hearts the way that he does. I love that I still get to do music 20 years later. And it's so much fun to be able to do those songs on the road and doing new music at the Kingdom Legacy Live, and then the events coming up with my sister. It's just a very fun time, busy time, but a very fun time working on all this at the same moment.
I want to make sure before we run out of time and really kind of focus on the Fervent event as well. So kind of speak on that. And again, what the message of this event specifically that you and Priscilla are going to be going on the road for.
The overarching message of any of our events is we're not trying to be some showy, well-packaged, glitz and glamoury kind of thing. This is about authentic connection with us and our Savior. That's the bottom line. Mm-hmm. So Priscilla has obviously a new Bible study out called Elijah, and I did
it last year. I love it.
Yeah. You mentioned that. Yeah. So we'll be it's Fervent was introduced back in 2019, but we do runs of Fervent and then pull it back and then reintroduce it with new message, new music, but the same powerful night. And that's what we're doing now. Is we're reintroducing a new message, new music, and the same powerful night. So that's the objective, is to come in that room, and people in that local area where we're going to have the event. I think in Tampa on May 5th, we're going to be Grace Family Church on May 5th in Tampa. When people leave that room, we want that general vicinity, or where anybody goes when they go home, for their sphere of influence to know that something happened in their lives in that room. That's the objective of why we do Fervent.
I've had a chance to go to a number of her conferences where you've led worship throughout the years, probably the last 10 years. I've been to a couple of them, and there is something, it's pretty special to be a part of. Mm-hmm. And I've been with family members, and it's a lasting thing, which I think is just so amazing when you go to these conferences. And your family has been such a blessing to so many. And again, you have not shied away that there's struggles that come along with that as well. But we just thank you for being so authentic and for following that call in your life to follow where Christ is leading you guys. And we look forward to many more amazing nights where, again, God is glorified. And then again, that gets pushed out throughout the world. So thank you so much for your time. If people want to find out more about what you're doing, what would you best, because you're on social media. I'm always checking out what you're singing, what you're doing.
Yeah, they can go to at Anthony Evans Jr. on any social platform. That's at Anthony Evans Jr. on any social platform. Or if you want to find out more about the events, you can go to anthony-evans.com. That's anthony-evans.com, and links to Fervent and Kingdom Legacy are right there. So you can just go to one spot and click wherever you want to go.
One spot, one amazing family. Thank you again for your time and for your commitment to the Lord, because it's blessing so many. So safe travels. We'll be praying for you and the family. Okay.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.